Welcome to my channel. Let's have this conversation now. What a difference a week makes. Now, Nicki Minaj and Don Lemon, got into it. Don Lemon got arrested. We learned that cocksucker could be shared on social media because that's what he is. And no disrespect to the cocksuckers, but it's time for the real men to stand up and be the leaders in this country. Now, Jay-Z and Bill Gates. Okay, we talking to Epstein files, people. Jay-Z and Bill Gates. Right now, Jay-Z and Bill Gates are trending with the Epstein files. Now, Bill Gates' wife, his ex-wife, has went on a public publicity tour to distance herself from her husband and says that he needs to go down to Washington and he needs to be subpoenaed and he needs to be the next individual to testify behind the Clintons. So if you did not know, the Clintons, switched gears as well. Okay, they did not want to, they didn't uphold their subpoena, or they did not answer their subpoena. And now all of a sudden they agreed to terms. And a lot of you all in the comments, I'll be seeing y'all don't know what y'all be talking about. Y'all just listening to the talking points of the liberal media and just assume that they know what they're talking about. But the news media gets their information from streamers, from podcasters, because we're able to break news when the news breaks. Okay, now the Clintons will, have a conversation with, Congress. Okay, they said that they're going to answer their subpoena, but this is the catch. Think about it. This is the catch. They do not have a date. Okay, they just agreed to the terms to basically, pump the brakes, slow everything down, but they have not agreed to any terms or a date. Okay, so now we'll just have to sit and watch because the Clintons, this whole thing turned out to be about the Clintons. And a lot of people in the comments, they're going to sue and all of this stuff. They don't sue when they're in the wrong. Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein was homies. Okay, they showed up to the function with matching Versace shirts. I mean, come on. Everybody thought this was about the president. He knows everybody. But all of a sudden, now, what does it matter? And a lot of you don't even want to have the conversation now because you just fell for the mainstream media and the liberal media just basically feeding the 80%. Okay, so now it's time to, have some common sense and pay attention, because if you got pictures of me and my homeboys and matching Versace shirts, we in the pool and doing this and on a private plane and he pulling up to the crib 27 times, just like they have Jeffrey Epstein documented going to the Clinton White House over 27 times. And that's crazy. So it is what it is. But Jay-Z, they trying to get Jigga Man. Okay. And this is what they do. They build you and they destroy you. Okay. That number 8, build and destroy. Just think about it. Build and destroy. But we're going to build. So now that they're, taking down, this whole industry that they put in front of us, these individuals who turned out to be homosexual men, and they claim Busta Rhymes is a sissy. They saying all of these individuals who started rap in New York, are homosexuals. So this is what we call the reckoning. Puffy was just the tip of the iceberg. Okay. Because you got Jay-Z and Pusha T implemented in the Epstein files. Think about that. And all I'm, in my mind, I just think, Harvey Weinstein was just told him, go grab me some honeys, because he's not an attractive brother or attractive man. And he just wanted them to just, because the female in the paperwork said that she woke up, Harvey Weinstein was, finger banging, and Jay-Z and Pusha T was in the room. Now, I've been in the room with some of my homies when they was finger banging. So that's not, don't implement me and what you got going on. But, just by being mentioned, got a lot of people kind of nervous. So it is what it is. But the Jay-Z situation, and then Nicki Minaj, she destroyed Don Lemon, calling him cocksucker and all of that, in which, that's what they are, because if you say, look at you eat vagina. Yeah, I love it. Okay, I love it. But like I said, that's why I'm praying for a wife. Forgive me, but like I said, once I get my wife, it's on and cracking, But let's be honest of what's going on. Let's not switch gears now. All you individuals that was wanting these files talking about what does it matter and all of that, it matters. Transparency is real. Now, the Clintons, Bill Clinton is the number one suspect when it comes to the Epstein files. They somehow tying Hillary into all of this. in which, hey, like that's her husband. She knows what time it is. Bill Gates is tied into it big time. These are individuals on the list that I aforementioned. And if you haven't, go subscribe to A Better Black America TV on Facebook, on YouTube, and A Better Black America radio show on Facebook. Okay, Better Black America TV on YouTube, and subscribe to A Better Black America radio show on Facebook, because we got the paperwork, we got the documentation. I have been emailed the actual official list, and I'm so glad that I put myself in this situation and started to spill the beans, and then now the individuals would come out and say, oh, they're not on the files, and then here comes their names being implemented in or implicated in the Epstein files, and everybody's looking for Trump. Okay, so it's two sides to every coin. So we got to just keep it real. But Jay-Z and Pusha T. Now, Jay-Z, they on him talking about, oh, he was with Foxy Brown when she was 16. He got with Beyonce. And, just thinking about the climate, there may be some other things other than that, that he got issues with. But in terms of the Beyonce, the Aaliyah, as well as Foxy Brown, like I said, I can recall, in the 80s, late 80s when I was in high school, and just during the whole 80s with the dope game and all this, man, it was grown men smashing these high school girls. I remember being in high school, getting rides to school with females. We in the 10th grade and they got whips because, they boyfriend, is the dope man in the hood, and they driving already, barely got their driver's license, and I'm riding with them. They picking them up. So that was a thing. That's why a lot of black women are not saying anything, because I remember a time in high school where, the dope boy, my neighborhood, wanted to gave me some cash to give to his girl to help her mother pay the rent. OK, and I put a couple ones on it and peeled it off, act like, I was, giving her my money. That's a whole nother story. But we just going to keep it a buck. So now, like I said, black women not tripping. Because just imagine how many black women, 15, 14, 15, 16-year-olds that was sexually active, that had children by men, over 21. Let's be honest with ourselves. So this is why that's not a lot, no admission of guilt or any wrongdoing. But Jay-Z and Foxy Brown, look what she was talking about. She was a rapper, a celebrity. So you think, the Jigga Man is going to let this celebrity, smashing the homies in the hood when she's hot as she is and she's his artist. So, it is what it is. And then he said he'd been rocking with Beyonce, or been knowing Beyonce on record since she's been recording. And to my understanding, she's been recording since 14 years old. Now, it is what it is, but Beyonce didn't complain. Beyonce didn't say he did anything wrong to her. So this is why the files, or the Epstein files, are so important, because this gives the victims an opportunity to get some type of retribution for what they've been through. And that's actually what it's all about, because it's not fair, for these adolescent young females to go through what they went through, and then to get to this age and to be, act as if, we're not going to punish these grown, rich and wealthy, groomers, and these individuals that's performing these rituals and all of that. It is what it is. So Jay-Z, and Bill Gates is in the hot seat right now. The Clintons have accepted the subpoena. Okay, terms and conditions of the subpoena, but there is no date. But I can imagine, when they testify, when they ask Bill Clinton, I guarantee you he gonna say stuff like, I don't recall. And then he gonna say things like, I'm just here not to get fined, Marshawn Lynch. So let's just be honest with ourselves. So the files are turning out to be real. This is, you guys wanted it. So don't turn the page now, because it's getting deep. Okay, because Melissa Gates, which is the ex-wife of Bill Gates, is literally throwing Mr. Bill Gates under the bus. I seen a podcast, and she says that he got a lot to answer to, and she's so glad that she separated herself from him. And it was a trip. So when they got a divorce, all the money that she got in terms of the foundation, I'm sitting back like, wow, it has to be something going on. But Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein, they was homies. That was his crony. That was his boy. And I saw an interview yesterday, and he basically, talked about Bill Clinton, intimately, not from a physical perspective, but they've been in private rooms, private planes, and private situations together. So the Epstein files is trending, is heating up. Bill Clinton is the number one assailant in the Epstein files. Jay-Z and Bill Gates right now are trending. So we're going to see what's going on. So like I said, hit that notification, hit that subscription. You can find me on the Better Black America TV here on YouTube. And you can also find me on a Better Black America radio show on Facebook. Hit that subscription, hit that notification, because like I said, we're going to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help us, God Almighty. With that being said, y'all have an amazing day. This is your man, Bushan Glover, tapping out for a Better Black America TV. Peace out.